right, well, thanks for showing up to the evening session. I know it's rough, but let's hop into it. If you have any questions or anything, feel free to raise your hand and jump in and ask. So we're going to talk about building a bad culture. So quick reference, when I say bad, or I reference something as bad, that's like good. We joke that it's like there's uppercase bad and lowercase bad, and uppercase is good, obviously. So who recognizes this team? The 96 championship Bulls. This is like the pinnacle. Everybody wants our team to look and function and win like this, right? Who has a team like this in their business right now? Yeah. So your teams probably look a little more like this. And side note, people can see what you like on Instagram. So I liked one of these, and my employee DM'd me and was like, Right? I've had some hires like that. This one's good. I like this.
Extraordinary creature is half blind, half deaf, and this is just about as fast as it can.
Right, so who has a team or some team members more like that, right? Don't tell them that, but so we're going to talk about culture, and by the time you fire somebody, the damage is already done to your business, to your culture, right? It starts when you hire, or the common phrase is like, you don't lose money when you sell something, you lose it when you purchase it, right? In real estate or stocks, crypto, whatever. So similar to that, it's the same with culture in your company. So maybe about 2 years ago when we really started exploding from like 50 employees to 100 to 150 to 200 within like a 15-month span, we started focusing on culture a lot more. So now we hire almost exclusively for culture instead of skills, because I can train you how to, like any skill on Amazon, or how to run paid media, or like Claude can run paid media on Meta now. So culture fit is far more important even today, especially with AI. So a little bit about me. My name is Michael Jordan, just like the basketball player, except not as tall, dark, or rich. So this was me in my parents' basement in early 2020. So no employees, a couple Filipino VAs, and just laptop and a dream, right? Most people have been here at one point. And this was at our event, Agency Founders, the picture on the right that we throw every year. It's not our entire team, but most of our top managers. And as you can see, like, everybody loves each other because we built an incredible culture. So how do we go from me in my basement to over 200 full-time employees in about 4 to 5 years? I'm going to cover, this is something, I was at somebody else's event and I said this to her and she said, can you just pause and say that again, because I think I need to hear it again. And I said, you're far too lenient. Most business owners are far too lenient on who you let into your organization, into your business. We risk all of our money, our life, our time to build these organizations and businesses. We take the hard path. And then once we get something that's successful enough to employ people, we just let anybody in. And it like makes zero sense to me, right? So I'm guilty of that. I've hired tens and tens of people who didn't fit my culture, my viewpoint, my work ethic, anything like that. And they ended up doing worse for the business. I'm a big project guy, like potential guy. So I'm like, they have so much potential. The skill fits. Like I'll just like mold them into the person I need them to be to either fit the culture or like whatever it is. I think that's one excuse. Another is like price always, right? But it's like, oh, what if I hired the person I knew I should have for 10K more a year and they made me 500K more throughout that year? So price is a tough one, especially if you like budget and stuff for payroll. Yeah, so that's two of like the common reasons why I've made poor choices. But also I didn't have the system I'm about to go through. I didn't personality test. I didn't like match the correct person and their character traits to the role that I was putting them in. So. that helpful? Oh. So that's number one. Point number two, how to create a cult-like culture. I think cult has a negative connotation to that word, but like you want your organization to function like a cult. You want your employees to be excited and like all in or nothing on your mission, your vision, your core values, go to work and like play to win every single day. So for me, building a cult-like culture is a great thing. And there's no negative connotation around that word. And then lastly, I'll talk a little bit about how we focus on people over processes now. So you're far too lenient on who you let into your business, and then here's how to fix it. Who's read these books? Yeah, most people, right? So Who by Jeff Smart, Who Not How, right? People instead of process, Good to Great, classic, and they talk about the right people in the right seats on the bus. So we all know that like, cool, I gotta find the right person, put them in the right seat on the bus, but none of these books teach us how to find the right person. All right, so they give us the knowledge of what we should do, but then it's like, cool, how do I do that now? And we just go out into the world and we hire anybody from Upwork or Fiverr or any recommendation and referral without making sure that they're the right person. So this is how most people hire in their business. This is how we hired, right? You post a job listing, you put it on Upwork, Indeed, onlinejobs.ph, whatever job website. You take days or weeks looking through resumes, and then the more you go on, the more you just scan resumes, and finally you get tired and overwhelmed, and you pick a couple and you interview and you hire what you think is the best person, right? That could mean they were just the best talker. They weren't the best fit for the role. They didn't have the best skills, but you were worn down and you're like, I just got to get somebody in the door so I can move on to this next problem, all right? Do you guys hire like that? For sure, yeah. That's how we used to hire. And then we got up to 100 people and fulfillment broke, results went down the drain, clients started churning, and I knew I had to go back to the drawing board and fix some stuff. So some of those problems, right? It's time intensive. Everybody lies on the resume, right? Everybody lies in an interview. There's AI tools that can like listen to you. If you were in Tom's session here this morning, like he had us do a live call with his AI agent, you can have that on the screen. It'll listen to the interviewer and then it'll spit a question out. And we've had people in interviews, I'm like, you're definitely reading off a script and a screen. Yeah, I went viral on Twitter not long ago, and like everybody started. We saw an uptick of people start to use it. Yeah, so like great interviews don't equal great employees, and then the AI stuff. So I went back to the drawing board and I consulted with a lot of people and ultimately came to the decision and got the advice that like, I don't need this big complex system. It's really easy to code stuff now and like build this Frankenstein system that ultimately doesn't get us to the end goal of quickly hiring the right person. That's all I wanted, all right? So this system you might look at and you're like, well, that's nothing special, but all together and in place in your organization, it gets you the best result. So this is how we scaled from 30 people to 200 plus in the last 4 years. And we went up to about 220 people. Fulfillment broke, churn increased. We started losing clients left and right. So we laid off down to about 160. And over the last year and a half, we pushed back up and we're around 215 full-time, only bad marketing employees. So I made a ton of mistakes. I've fired a ton of people. I've hired a ton of people. We've laid off people. We've scaled back up. So I hope some of this information is helpful to you guys. And whether you want to hire 200 people or most people need to hire like one per quarter, maybe one per month if you're really growing. So all of this can be applied whether you're hiring 10 per month. We had months where we had like 15, 20 new people come on board or one person per quarter. Like you can apply this to whatever system fits your situation. So step one is the filtering survey. So this is a 45 to 60 minute questionnaire. Use Typeform, Jotform, Google Forms, whatever you choose. We use Typeform. I think it works the best and looks the best. And the survey doesn't necessarily test their skills. It's not like mentally difficult or anything, but it's very, very annoying, right? I've had people like my top manager has been with me for 5 years now, and she was like, that was the most annoying thing I've ever had to fill out for a job. And it took her like over an hour, right? I want you to jump through hoops. I want you to, like, if you can't give me 60 minutes of your time to tell me you're serious, like, why would I think you're going to give me the next 2 years of your life to work for me? So don't feel bad about making people like buy in a little and put some skin in the game with their time. So this is how we go through 500 plus people for every single role in 15 minutes or less. That 15 minutes is just like sending the form out. So for example, if you are hiring a Filipino on online jobs, you create this survey, you create a template message. Hey, thanks so much for applying to this role. I think your resume looks great. I don't look at those resumes. I use this to filter out and only look at the good ones. But please click this link to fill out this survey. It'll take you 30 to 45 minutes. That scares away a lot of people. Good. I didn't want you in my organization if you can't give me 30 minutes. And then about 30 to 40% of people don't make it through the entire survey. Cool. Perfect. I didn't have to waste time looking at the resume. I'm sure I've lost some good people, but you know, no system is perfect.
What are the types of, sorry,
Yeah.
what are the type of questions that you're asking within those?
Yeah. So what are the types of questions in the survey? So yeah, you're good. Okay, so the goal of the survey, right? Make them jump through the hoops, collect all of their personal info, name, email, where they live, etc. I have like 3 questions on technical skills. It's like stuff that you should know if you know about this role. Like, you know, what's a good ROAS on meta ads? Like some basic stuff like that. And like you can just Google or AI that now, but again, it's just questions, make them jump through hoops and spend time doing this. I have some like brain teasers. It's like if Johnny had 10 apples and Sally had 4 and then they did this, like how many apples are left? And like people will drop off at that. I'm like, bro, Google it. Yeah, right? Or people will like email and be like, I didn't know how to figure this out. I hope it's okay. And I'm like, use ChatGPT, like whatever now. You want to work at a digital marketing agency in 2026 and you can't figure out how to like, right? So again, jumping through hoops. And then this is a big one for me because we're remote, we're digital, especially if they're client facing. I must have a Loom video and I have a prompt. It's like, tell me why you want to work at Bad Marketing. Tell me about your skill set and why you would be a good fit for the role. And then tell me what your favorite ice cream is. And you must do it in 60 seconds, right? I'll have people email and they'll be like, hey, my video is 3 minutes. Is that okay? No, I said 60 seconds. Like, how do I expect you to follow my SOPs, right? If you can't do this in the interview. Hey, I couldn't figure out how to shoot a Loom. Like, I recorded on my iPhone. Can I email it? Bro, it's like, Google it again, right? So all of these are filtering people out. And by the time you send 500 people to it, you've got like 10 good candidates that you can easily see. And all this shoots to a spreadsheet, which I'll go over in the next step.
How are you getting the 500?
How do I get the 500 people? Yeah, so like our situation's a little unique now because of... Yeah, so we get organic from Instagram, from YouTube, from Facebook groups. So we'll have...
Can you just post in like a story? Like
yeah, so like for info stuff, like on the info side of the business, he'll post, hey, I need a good strategy for a stock offer that we're about to launch or something. And he'll get a ton of applications. So that's one way. I'll post on my LinkedIn, and I have a pretty good network of people like overseas in Pakistan and the Philippines and stuff, and we'll get a lot of good applications. Then we'll have our managers. They're in these Reddit subs, they're in these Facebook groups, and they'll post. And if they're active and a valued member, they'll get a ton of applications. And used to, it was like, Kelsey hit me up, hey, I've got somebody that wants to apply for this. Can I send them your way? I'm like, yeah, sure, like send them to my email. Then I have to go through the email and all this. And now it's just send them the survey link. If they make it through the filters, then I'll talk to them, right? So it cuts out all of that.
Do you incentivize your employees to like, do they get a referral fee if someone comes from their efforts and sticks with you guys?
Yeah, for sure. So the question was, do we incentivize employees to refer people? Yes. So we give $250 if you refer somebody and they stay for 60 days. So it's not huge, but it's like a good incentive. Yeah. I think that's important. It makes them think a little bit more about, do I really want to refer this person, right? And then it's like, you know, $250, I'll take $250 just for referring somebody. So yeah, a lot of times we found like people don't like to work with their friends though. Yeah, maybe colleagues from other businesses that they were in, but not like friends, definitely not family and stuff. So yeah, yeah, I know, right? So yeah, so Facebook groups, Reddit subs. We still post on LinkedIn, Indeed, online jobs. Yeah. But everybody goes through this survey first. And it takes no work. You have a templated message with the link in it. And like if they want to make it to round 2 because you liked their resume, they go through this. And you never have to look at them until you know for a fact that they're good enough to look at. So yeah, these are some of the sections in the survey. So we collect all the info. What this does, it zaps into a spreadsheet, right? You can have Claude or GPT or whatever do it now. You could even build your own dashboard in Claude code now, but we just use a spreadsheet. It's simple, it's cheap, and it works. And everybody in the world knows how to use a spreadsheet, right? So we can open it up, we share it with our managers, our hiring managers, whoever is filtering through these. So this is an example of one for a graphic designer. So you can see our system is like this guy highlighted in bright green. We're like, this guy is good. So we got like, I don't know, what is this like? Some of these rows are hidden like 10 people from hundreds and hundreds that made it all the way through. And then of those, at a quick glance, I'm reading the questions. What do you do outside of work? What industry newsletters or emails do you follow to keep up with the industry and your skills and your role? And some people will be like, oh, I don't follow any newsletters. Cool, red, you're gone. Because the guy below that has this paragraph like, I follow this and that and this, and I watch this dude on YouTube. I'm like, that's the guy I want in my organization. Let me dig into him, or let me look at his LinkedIn. So we collect their LinkedIn, their Instagram. We make all those optional. If somebody doesn't share those with us, it's kind of a red flag, especially if there's a better candidate who shares all of his socials. Like that's important now, especially for us, because our brand recognition and our culture and everything is so important. Like we've not hired people that are like, you know, we made a business decision to not be super political one way or the other. So like we don't hire people like that either. It doesn't fit our cult and our culture. So this is also a database for future hiring. Next week, if I need a graphic designer, what do? Most people would go back to LinkedIn or Indeed or online jobs. I go to my spreadsheet. I look for the guy that I thought was really good, but you know, he was second choice, and I see if he's still available, if he's still a good fit for the position now. So it's a great database that you can pull from at any time. And yeah, so like the yellows are like maybes, the reds are no-goes, right? And we collect all info. What do you expect to get paid? What do you, when can you start? Where do you live? What's your time zone? Can you work this time zone that we need you to? So like everything is out in the open, and it makes it really, really simple for the hiring manager to go into an interview with all the information they need. They don't have to go to ClickUp and email or ask so-and-so or whatever system. They just go to the spreadsheet. It's all right there. So step number 2, I talked about how this is so important and how we first make sure they fit the culture and personality archetype for the role before we even ask them about their skills. right? So I am, who's used like 16 personalities or Culture Index or Myers-Briggs? Yeah, we use 16 personalities. I guess I'm cheap, it's free, and it does the job. Culture Index costs, I don't know, a few thousand a year. I know a lot of people who use that and like it. So pick your poison. We use 16 personalities, and it's worked pretty dang well. So it'll spit out something that takes like 10 minutes to take and go through the questions. And we make them do this in that filtering type form, and then take a screenshot of their results and attach it there. And me personally, I'm an ENTJ-A. I would bet a lot of people in here are ENTJs. Most entrepreneurs are. And do what?
Most are
ENTPs. Okay. What's the P?
P is more perceiving versus judging. Perceiving is more keeping options open, versus J is more decisive, time-bound.
I think I'm probably, like, as I grow in my career, moving more towards a P versus a J, but I'm super strong J right now.
I mean,
So.
your closet is probably totally organized.
Oh yeah, color-coded T-shirt. Yeah,
That's the difference.
yeah. Okay.
These will just pay for professional organizing.
Yeah.
Try to keep it that way.
I got too much payroll to pay somebody else to organize my closet. No, so it's like scary. You get like mad at it. It like calls you out. You're like, what? How do you know me so well? So if you haven't taken this, I would take it. We make everybody take it. So we surveyed everybody in the company when I was like coming up with this and designing it. We made everybody in the company take it, and we found something really interesting. All of our best performers were the same. So all of our account managers were ENTJs, super organized. Their closets organized by color. And like, you need that for a CSM, account manager who's talking to a client. All of our worst performers in those roles weren't part of the top 3 archetypes for that role. Now I'll go over how you find the top 3 for each role. So now our rule is, if they don't match the top 3, then we don't hire them for that role. I don't care how good they interview, how, like, I don't care about anything. You must match this first to even move on to the next step. So it's a really great filtering system to go from that 500 people down to the top 5. So instead of looking at 500 resumes, I'll look at 5 that match this first, and then everything else second. Because we found that somebody, like, it's really easy to fake stuff for 3 months. If I'm an introvert, I can fake a speech for 60 minutes, like, no problem, right? But then I gotta go to my room to recharge. In a job role, like, you can fake something for, if you're introverted, you could fake being a client-facing CSM for 3 months, and you always, always burn out. So that's why this is so important. Okay, so this is the prompt that I use, pretty simple, in ChatGPT or Claude. So for example, an account manager, here's the roles and responsibilities for an Amazon account manager or a meta media buyer at Bad Marketing. And then I upload a document, a PDF of the roles and responsibilities for that role. So it has the context. Based on this info, give me the top 3 personality archetypes from 16personalities.com. And I always say, like, be concise, use bullets and stuff, and it'll spit out this. So for an account manager, ENTJ, a commander, ESTJ, and ENFJ are the top 3. If you don't test in those, I'm not gonna hire you for an account manager. I probably missed some good people, but I've hired way more good ones. It's made my life way less stressful by doing this, okay? An SEO specialist, INTJ, which makes sense. You're a data nerd, you're manipulating the search engine, the search algorithm. Most of those guys are introverted instead of extroverted, right? So that's the I. Whereas the ENTJ, E for extrovert, you're talking to clients. Yeah?
Is this like 100% of the time you won't make any exceptions?
Dude, you gotta hold the line. It's tough because people interview well, people lie really well,
I
and
can see myself doing this and then getting a call with someone
Yeah.
who's really dope, and it's like, oh, this time I'm not gonna.
And that's why I preface this with like, they can fake it in the interview, they can fake it for 3 months in the job role, they will always burn out. So in the early days when we first came up with this, I'm like, oh, this guy's like really good, he just did, like he tested really close to these top 3, let's hire him. Ended up being a huge mistake, like more times than I can count. So now we just stick to this. Yeah.
I felt like I had the largest collection of INTJs on my management team.
Yeah.
Because I felt like that was the killer personality type.
Yeah. They're very analytical. They can be, like they're good in management, but anybody like client facing for us is an E extrovert. Yeah.
Although I's, I mean, internally, they act like E's because they're familiar with everyone.
Yeah.
In some sense.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily always like an
Yeah.
where they recharge their energy, and that's the difference.
For sure. And like, right, I tested ENTJ-A for like assertive, I think. And like, I know myself, I'm more introverted than extroverted. Like my friends say, I'm an outgoing introvert. Like I need to go back to my room and recharge, or like, you know, whatever, I'll go backpack for 3 days by myself and have like the best time ever. So like, you know, take this with a grain of salt. Like there's some nuance to it. So key insights from, you know, hundreds of hires and fires. Again, all of the same top performers for each role had the same archetype. I look at all my best account managers and CSMs, and I'm like, wow, ENTJ. Here's Mike, he's a INTJ, no wonder he's doing bad, and like his churn is double what everybody else's, as he hates talking to people 24/7 in Slack.
Do you ever use Colby?
No, I haven't.
That's, I mean, we were really into Myers-Briggs within Colby, where it's a
Yeah.
layer.
Yeah,
Super interesting.
I think like pick one and stick with it and like build this system around it, and it'll do the same thing, right? This is, I think to start out, 16 personalities, it's free, it's fast, it's simple. If you're hiring one person per quarter, like you probably don't want to pay for Colby or Culture Index or anything. So, yeah, Thomas.
So personality test is a non-negotiable for you. Like if it doesn't pass this, you're not getting hired. What's another like non-negotiable? Because there's a lot of things in the application process that's a little subjective. It's test assignments can be subjective.
Right.
What's another non-negotiable that if you don't hit this?
Assignments are almost dead now. Like throw it in ChatGPT and it spits out perfectly. So we used to use assignments, and if they didn't like do it correctly or well, that was non-negotiable. But with AI now, like we don't hold much weight to assignments. We try to do more like scenario-based stuff now, and see how they would react and like handle a certain situation and scenario. Like Amazon changes the search algorithm, and like all your clients' listings tank, like more stuff like that instead of technical. Another non-negotiable is like in the basic stuff, man. Like that's why we ask for salary expectations up front. Can you work these? Everybody works East Coast hours. So some basic stuff like that, honestly. Yeah. And in the interview, like, if they're client facing, how do they look in their loom? That's a big one. That's why, like, is their room a mess? They have tons of shit on their bed. Do they have like empty Coke cans or beer cans like laying all around behind their desk? And like, we've had people do that, and they're telling me that they're going to be the best account manager ever. Like, I don't know. Like, do I want a client who signs up for bad marketing and pays us $20K to log on and see that as the person that's taking care of their account? Right? So there's some more like vain stuff like that if you're client facing. So I don't have to ask for it. It's all in that type form survey, right? So I can make a quick decision if that's, a client facing role. Even for internal, like, is their internet good? Is their lighting good? Like, do you want to talk to somebody with their camera off all the time, to your team member? Or, right, you work for them for 2 years and you don't see them because their camera's off, or they don't have good internet or audio. So, yeah. It's really picky and it's really strict, but like, if you just hold the line, like, your life will improve because you won't be so stressed in your business. right? So here's the new hiring system. We removed that middle step of looking through all the resumes. We created a survey, and I can give you guys examples of our surveys for like CSMs and media buyers and stuff like that, so you can go through it. And then we interview the top 3 and hire them fast and fire them faster if they don't fit out. So it's a really simple system. You don't need anything complex, especially if you're hiring one person a month or one person a quarter. So don't fall into that trap.
How many people do you have do the interviews? Because like I like to have
Yeah.
members of my management team, especially for key roles. Like I'm just really interested in other people's interaction with someone, and maybe I wasn't able to connect with this candidate as well as you were, or maybe you didn't connect as well with this candidate as I did, but here's something they said during mine. Do you just do one interview, or?
It depends on the role, but like I only interview somebody if they're going to be my direct report or whatever. But for a specialist, say like a meta media buyer, they'll get on with the manager of that team, and then a lot of times somebody else, like one of our best meta media buyers, would be on that interview as well. And if we want a separate opinion, like just something's off, or like I think he's really good, then it could get elevated to me. So I like to have like a specialist that really knows their stuff, and then the manager that's going to manage them, right? But like, again, the survey does a lot of that. You know what they look like on camera, you know what they talk like, you know that they were at least willing to spend 60 minutes to put some effort, and they want to work for you. So it does a lot of that heavy lifting.
Does the personality assessment fall? Like, do you have the candidates that make it through the survey go immediately into the personality?
It's towards the back end of the type form.
So all candidates are taking the personality?
Yep,
Okay.
all of them. And then we just tell ChatGPT, hey, like filter these. I need these 3 personality types for this role. Wipe everybody else. Yeah. All right, so part 2, how to create a cult-like culture. Right, again, it starts like when you let somebody in the door of your business. So here's bad marketing 7 core values. We came up with these when we rebranded to bad marketing about 3 years ago. So the first, obviously, be bad, right? Bad stands for bold and disruptive. It really just stands for bad. And then we were like, maybe we should put an acronym to it, so bold and disruptive. But second core value is play to win. And we go over these at the start of every single all company, all team meeting. We like hammer it into our managers if we watch a recording and they don't start with these. Hey, why didn't you go over the core values to start with? Oh, I just, no, like, really, why didn't you? They're pretty important. So that's how you create a cult-like culture. You like set the line and you hold the line and you don't let anybody go below it. And it's really tough and it's awkward. You'll lose people for it. Employees will be like, MJ's so weird, like, core values, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't care. I hold the line. So play to win. This is like we play for first place. You don't play for second. A lot of people play defense in the agency space, and like we go on the offense and on the attack too. So extreme ownership, own your outcomes. It's really easy to blame clients, like, oh, they didn't respond to me for 3 days or whatever the excuse is in the agency space. But if you take that ownership on yourself and say, well, maybe I could have hit them up on Instagram or LinkedIn or email or whatever, instead of just relying on Slack, like that's some extreme ownership. Solutions, not problems. All right, 1-3-1. Does anybody know that framework? So 1 problem, 3 potential solutions, and 1 that you think is the best. I don't answer somebody if they just Slack me and, hey, I need help with this, right? No, you got a 1-3-1. Hey, here's the problem. I've thought through it. Here's 3 potential solutions, and here's what I think is the best. And then I can just go in and be like, thanks for sending this. Like, it actually, like, I went through this 2 years ago, and like, you're on the right track here, but like, do a little bit of the, and it's so much easier to do that. And over time, the questions start to get less because people are actually learning and training their brain. Okay, best idea wins. Doesn't matter if it's like my idea or the guy we just hired. If you have the best idea, it's you win and we implement your idea. and always be growing, right? In the e-com space, agency space, like you have to be, especially with AI. So that's why we like test for in the filtering survey. Do you keep up with industry newsletters? Do you keep up with industry guys on YouTube, on Instagram? Like, where do you learn from? That's a really good indicator for how they're going to do in the job and if they're going to keep up with everything or rely on you to provide them that information. And maybe if you have a team of 2, 3, 5 people, you can do that and you should be the source of information still. But when you scale past that, you just can't be. Like, people have to be self-learners and self-motivated. So people on Reddit subs have turned out to be, we found a few people on Reddit subs and Facebook groups. They tend to be like self-learners and keep up with everything. And then nobody's bigger than the team, right? Organization is like, you have an org chart. I'm at the top and some people are at the bottom just because that's how an organization works. That does not mean I'm more important than you. My ideas are not better than you. Anything, if you have an idea, we're open for it. And truly nobody is bigger than the team. Right? So those are our 7 core values. Do you guys have core values? Like, do you guys have them for baby or, yeah? Yeah, exactly. And like, if something happens, that was a negative experience, you could probably relate it back to that and be like, oh, he didn't like follow this. All right, so when we give a PIP, a performance improvement plan, we always relate it to which core value you didn't meet the standard, right? So it's not just like, hey, here's a PIP, like fix it, and here's a roadmap to do it. It's like, this is why we're giving you a PIP. You didn't, play to win. You didn't, take extreme ownership or whatever. And like, that's how you build a cult-like culture, right? You create your core values, you weave it into everything, you go over it in every meeting, you test people on it. In our all company call, we have at the start of every month, we'll call on people, or we'll say, raise your hand, and like, somebody lists the 7 core values, tell us what they mean to you. So they have heard them like hundreds or thousands of times. Yeah.
When they're going through the survey process, is that intertwined into some of the questions so you already know if they're a fit for the core value of the company?
Yeah, so it's in the type form. Here's our 7 core values. What do you think about them? Right, and I usually don't filter people out unless they're like, oh, I don't agree with this one. Like, cool, some people might not agree to, whatever, always be growing or extreme ownership. Like, that is perfectly fine, but we believe in it, so you're not going to work for us.
Sorry to interrupt, are you ever going to get someone that says they disagree? Because what I've found whenever I have gone through the process of trying to hire someone, even if it's a simple position, where I would say, hey, this is kind of what we stand for, like, yes.
Yeah.
I'm like, great, but I don't see how sometimes that doesn't always translate in the execution because, as you said,
right,
some people are always going to lie, etc. So how do you filter through that as your...
Yeah, they, like, some of these might be misinterpreted, right? So as they hear them over time, as they hear teammates explain them, as they hear me explain what they mean, and, there's differing meanings to them, but they either abide by them and start to believe in them or not. So not everybody's going to come in and be like, the natural answer is like, yes, of course, like, I want the job, of course I agree with those. We've had some people be like, I don't know, and they'll push back on one, and then I explain it. They're like, oh, okay, that makes sense now, right? Like, extreme ownership's one. Well, what if the client does this? Well, it's how you spin it, right? Of course you couldn't help that they went to Cabo for a week and didn't answer you and you missed the launch date, right? But like, how can we fix that in the past? Like, what's in your control? So, yeah. So culture isn't built with posters on a wall. Like, you gotta set the culture, you gotta hold the line on the culture, and you gotta be way more strict on who you let into your organization, into your business. This thing that you have risked everything and spend so much time to build and take the hard path on. Like, we could just go work for, a big corporate company and like kind of cruise through life, but we choose this harder and more rewarding path, and then we just let anybody in. So I would challenge you guys to be much more strict on who you let into your door. And then lastly, this one's a little shorter, but people over processes, especially with AI and how fast stuff is progressing now. All of this that I just went over, we focused on more, and culture, because like education is not, like it's free now. Used to, it's like I was so good on selling online, drop shipping and Amazon because like I had all this experience and like, you know, that a course couldn't teach you. But like now, use Claude, use Chat, like all that information is free. So SOPs, we build them more like checklists. There's a good, I think it's called Checklist Manifesto. It's a good book on this, how to build like SOPs as checklists instead of like super in-depth SOPs. We also make our team use Loom AI, and they'll just record theirself, and then it like creates an SOP with step-by-step pictures and everything. That helps. But yeah, invest in your people, treat them right, and culture scales, processes break, right? So TikTok Shop, for example, was the fastest maturity of a e-com platform that I've ever seen. From like 0 to 2 years, they were mature, meaning like eBay took like 10, 15 years for people to like figure it out and get really good and dominate it. Amazon took 10 years and went through multiple phases. Craigslist, like all these platforms took a decade or more to mature and become really competitive. TikTok Shop in 2 years became ultra competitive, right? And along the way, like every month they released or changed something. So we would spend all this time building processes and SOPs, and a month later they were irrelevant. So that's when we started focusing on, cool, does this person fit the culture? Are they gonna be all in or nothing? And then that person will keep up with it because they're following industry newsletters, creators, educators, right? So again, culture and people scale, processes break. Doesn't mean you shouldn't have SOPs, but things are maturing much faster now with AI. So a few lessons learned to wrap this up. Here's some like interesting insights. We found that CSMs and account managers, all of them are into health and fitness. So they work out, they take care of themselves, they're in shape. Some of them are like literally like on the side CrossFit trainers. And I started thinking about that. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Like they have to be the most consistent person in the company because you're representing the company, you're online, you're messaging nonstop. So that like fits their archetype and their personality and their character. Media buyers on Amazon, on Meta, on TikTok Shop, almost all of them we found do some sort of physical combat sport or rugby or something physical like kickboxing, jiu-jitsu. And if you think about it, like you're getting punched in the face by Meta like very frequently, and you're spending like tons of money. So yeah, you know, if you're spending 100, 150K a day on Meta ads, like you have to have an appetite for risk, and you have to be okay with getting punched in the face a couple of days, right? So, and then yeah, graphic designers. Most of our graphic designers, they read, they game, they're more on the nerdy side, they're creative, artistic. So like, look for this. Yeah, exactly. And you're an artist. So, so why would I hire somebody for, you know, graphic design who like doesn't do that? I'm sure there are great graphic designers out there who do jiu-jitsu, right? But that's not the overwhelming majority. So to make it easier on us to fit the right person in the right role, we look for these traits. So in the interview process, in the survey and the actual interview, I'm asking people like, what do you do outside of work? Well, what do you enjoy doing? If they're like, oh, not much, like that's a red flag for me. Like I want you to do stuff outside of work. I want you to become a better person, not just like work 24/7. And these were some of the traits that we found. So I would test your people, I would ask them these questions, and I bet you'll find some trends. A couple regional spots that we found good talent. South America for graphic designers. I think they're so close to the US culture versus like the Philippines that they understand marketing. They understand like ads and stuff. So we've gotten a lot better results, and they're not much more expensive than Filipino talent as well. So we go to South America for a lot of our graphic designers. The Middle East for media buyers, I don't know what it is, but all of our best media buyers a lot of them are Pakistani and Middle Eastern. Client-facing roles, US and Canada. We found a lot of good talent in Toronto and other parts of Canada, and it's a little cheaper than US talent, and they usually speak really good English, right? And then it's not a culture shock to, you bring on a client doing 50 mil a year and their account manager is a Filipino VA that they know you pay $1,200 a month. Not a good look. But if that account manager, CSM, is, oh, I live in Canada, like, oh, nice, I've been to Canada, blah, 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 and they, right? So US and Canada, if they're client facing. And then Eastern Europeans are extremely good and cost effective for like data, SEO, technical stuff. Couple lessons learned. This isn't good for like C-level or exec roles. It's a little, I don't know, like beneath them, for lack of better words. I think you need to get a lot more personal, a lot more in depth if you're hiring like upper level, C-level management within your organization. And then, yeah, if you're, you know, some FOMO, you're gonna miss a couple good people who don't want to fill out the survey, who don't want to jump through your hoops, who don't want to do whatever in this filtering process. But I would encourage you to like let that feeling go and just understand like you will find the better person the majority of the time. And if they weren't willing to give you 60 minutes of their time, like why do you think they're gonna give you the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years? And yeah, so skill is secondary. I can train you to do anything. We can use Claude and get SOPs. So like double, triple down on culture and personality fit. Here's a playbook. I want to read this. We just went through all of it, but go implement. I challenge you guys. It's free. Use 16 personalities, test your entire team, and see what trends and cool stuff you can uncover about your team. That's it.
Great presentation. Big fan. We actually just started doing a survey at the beginning of with Typeform. Yeah. And so, big believer in this, but are you concerned at all about groups? Like, I believe in data driving decisions, right? And especially for hiring. But like, I also believe there's some value in having, you know, different perspectives at the table, including in very technical fields, including in very creative fields. Like, so how are you ensuring that you're not creating like a groupthink situation in any individual department by looking for this sort of archetype?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a concern and an issue that I think you could encounter. You know, you build a cult, like everybody thinks the exact same, right, is a classic like definition of it. I mean, a lot of that I think is taken care of with like our KPIs that we set for each role, because they're usually growth oriented and you have to get out there and like pull new information in and think about stuff differently. And then like the breadth of our clients, like we have people who sell stock education courses, who sell real estate education courses, who on the e-com side who sell protein supplements or nasal dilator bands. So like the vast amount of niches that we have, I think helps with some of that as well. But yeah, that's a good one to like be concerned and at least aware that could happen. How do you guys? Yeah. Yeah.
That too, and like, I mean, I've definitely accepted a candidate who was not as strong as another because I know that their background was a diverse background that's not represented on the rest of my team, and I'd like to have that background included as a voice at the table. I'm a huge extrovert, like talk with my hands type. It's really hard for me to hire introverts, but I know there's like such value in having that person when they're willing to speak, their voice at the table. The other question I have is, I've had some experience in cognitive sort of assessments. Does your personality or does the 16 does that take into account cognitive ability?
It's not cognitive. What's the one that the NFL quarterbacks take? I can't think of what's that? Yeah, I can't think of the name right now.
A lot of offense use it.
Yeah, it's the same one that they make quarterbacks take, but no, I mean that would be for like higher level, C-level management level roles. We don't make like a graphic designer or a PPC specialist take that. Yeah.
That we had a lot of examples where, again, the whole like somebody could be really charming, somebody could be really well rehearsed, and then we would have them take this cognitive test and like score in the bottom 10% compared to a college-educated population. Like, and we kind of had this rule of like anyone who scored below 50%, that was an immediate deal breaker also. But
Is this for like what roles?
at the time it was, I ran a venture capital firm accelerator, and it was for anyone so it was more of a C-suite position, but it was kind of enlightening how incredible some of these entrepreneurs were, and then how low they scored on the test. You know, like,
Do you think they were good talkers? Like they could sell their own skills better?
Totally. And we invested in one, and she just like could not take in our feedback. And then we launched this accelerator, and she applied for it, and sure enough, she was one of the lowest scorers in the pack. Yeah. And it felt really icky, like we were like, oh man, this sucks, right? But it really provided answers as to why she was not able to grow, why she wasn't able to like do anything with the feedback we were giving her.
I think for higher level roles, strategists, C-level, whatever, like those cognitive tests can be really important because people can like know how to do something, but that doesn't mean that they can do it or they will, right? Like who knows how to win a gold medal in the 100-meter dash? Like you run faster than everybody else. So we all know how to win a gold medal in the Olympics. Who could actually do that though? Nobody here, right? So like you have to figure out, and I think the cognitive tests for higher level management can help with that. Yeah.
We found, because we used to have close to a couple hundred employees in a $100 million company. I mean, we found that for certain more managerial executive roles, if somebody was too entrepreneurial, that was an out.
This doesn't test for entrepreneurial.
No, I just meant like within the interview process.
Oh yeah,
like,
for sure.
Where we felt, okay, this person just, I mean, they were going to last a year or 2 years at most, and they're going to go off and start something, or they're just going to have, I mean, you want somebody who could be intrapreneurial, but is not an entrepreneur, because that just doesn't usually mesh.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. They'll almost always get the itch to go start something on their own. So we tell people, again, this is all like very direct and like filtering. We tell people like, I understand like relationships end, and especially work relationships, but like my expectation is 2 years minimum from you. If you can't commit the next 2 years of your career to me and this company, then you probably shouldn't work here. Is that fair? And if they're like, oh, well, like, why? But like, because that's my requirement, because I'm gonna invest a ton of time and resources and money into you, I can't have you leave in 6 months. I don't care how good you are. So, yeah.
That was actually my next question. Are you filtering out for people who are like serial movers?
For sure.
And how are you like ascertaining that through the type form?
Well, that's in this interview.
It's in the interview.
And the interview, hey, I'm just direct. I notice you've had 4 jobs in the last year. I need 2 years from you is my ask. Like, do you think you can do that? Explain why you've moved.
Have you found that like if somebody has moved a lot, but you ask them for that commitment, that they're actually making that commitment and like fulfilling it?
We're 4.5 years old, so not a ton of time to answer that question. But you can get somebody's like whether they're telling you the truth and being sincere or not if you like ask them directly and look at them. And for lower roles like graphic designer, media buyer, you know, it's a lot less risky to take that risk from our side. Like if maybe we aren't sure they're going to give us 2 years. So, but like our culture retains people so well that it removes some of that risk too.
Thank
On
you.
that note, with like time commitment, and you're looking at personality traits, do you look at like stage of life? So like fresh out of college, or they just got married, or they have some kids, or do you look at any traits like that?
In the US, you gotta be super careful with that.
Yeah, you do have to be careful about that. This is being recorded, so
You have to be careful about that, actually is super important.
Yeah.
Especially in a small organization.
Yeah. So to kind of like answer that to some extent, if like for our TikTok shop department, most of the people, I'll tell you who we do look for instead. Most of the people we look for are like younger kids, like 20-year-old. Like I'm not on TikTok like dancing and stuff and keeping up with it, but like if you're 20 years old, you are. So our best TikTok shop, CSM, she's like 21 years old and crushes it. So, you know, maybe or maybe not, that means that we reject somebody if they're 35 or 45. So, yeah, you kind of get.
I got 2 questions, Mike. Yeah. One, what do you guys have like a standard interview framework that you guys go through?
Yes. We just, for each role, we use Claude to get some of the answers. Yeah. We found if we left it up to the hiring manager or HR person that each interview is different. Like, oh, I forgot to ask this, or like they went off the rails. So yeah, I think especially when you're hiring like at the pace that we were, we had to standardize it a little, and then it gives like you a little more accurate.
So it's different per role, but it's
Yes.
still general, like higher level.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the things like, what do you do outside of work? Do you have somebody at your last job that, if I want to call them right after this, can you tell me their name and number, like shoot it to me over an email? A lot of times we don't call, a few times we have, especially for higher level roles. But if they start squirming or, you know, stuff, then it's kind of a tell.
Got it. And then this is like post-hire, what does ramp up look like when you bring people into, I don't know, you mean like a media buyer ramp up, for example, and like how that differs from like a graphic designer ramp up?
Like their onboarding and
Yeah.
training.
Like
Yeah.
when are you expecting a new media buyer to be at the same level as a media buyer who's been here for 2 years? Yeah. Is that like a 60-day process, a 90-day process?
No, so our roles for almost every department and every role is like you come in as entry or junior or senior, and we have a roadmap how to get to senior and progress through that. We just launched that like Q4 last year because a lot of people started asking for it, and a lot of people started hitting the top of their like fair salary range. So we had to get a little more, I guess, corporate-y with it and structured with it. So everybody has like a clear path. How do I go from a junior to a senior? If you come in and you are like a known savage closer in the space, like you're not going to start as a junior, right? Or you have a ton of experience with, you know, running Amazon accounts. I'm not going to start you as a junior, but I'm not going to start you as like the highest tier either. I'm going to make you earn it. And then it's not as fast as 6 months. It's usually like around the 1 to 1.5 year mark, because we found that anybody can perform well for a couple quarters in a row, but can they do it for 4, 5, 6 quarters in a row? So, yeah.
Where are you heading for South American jobs? Like, how are you filling that pool?
I don't know the exact job board. I'd have to ask our HR head, but we get a lot of referrals now, especially since we opened the $250 door for referrals. And then like, dude, now it's like way easier for us because people just come and apply, right? But when I need a new job in our ClickUp form, like this, a graphic designer, preference over somebody in Colombia or South America. And then like the HR lady will ask the team, hey, does anybody have, a reference before we put this out to the world? So I'm sure there's a job board or a Reddit sub or a Facebook group. Yeah.
When it comes to recruiters, how much of it is just your own hiring process coming from your own systems, your own handicap, to we actually use recruiters for these roles?
All of this and like all the scale up that we did over the last few years was internal from us. There's a few, like I just hired a new EA. I used a headhunting agency that specializes in EAs because I wanted it to be quick and fast. So that's an example, but yeah, like the vast majority of this is internal and we don't use like headhunting agencies. I think that's a good hack though, if you just want like confidence and remove a little of the risk from you if you use a headhunting agency. I think there's like somewhere.com is one I've heard a lot of people use, but yeah. Yeah, remotely, right? Eddie spun off a business that hires people in Lebanon and helps you find Lebanese talent.
I have another question. When you did the 16 behaviors thing, what did you do? I'm sorry, when you started doing the personality assessment, did I hear you say you did have everybody that currently worked in your company do it?
Yep.
And so what did you do with those who tested out of the top 3 archetypes, but were in the wrong role, basically? Like, did you let them stay?
Immediately fired.
Yeah, right.
That's what your reduction in force was, cleaning out everybody who was in the wrong.
Media buyers to start.
All of them. Hey, yeah, you got to go enroll in jiu-jitsu. All of them were already like on the outs. They had multiple pips. Right? So we followed that process, and then it made me, like, I still hate firing people. I've done it 100 times, and like, it's never fun. It's always difficult, right? But it made it a lot less difficult because I was like, now I know why. And I explained to them. It wasn't like, right? Hey, we did this. I think here's why you're struggling. We're not firing people who are doing great at their job. Like, you're not doing good. You're not meeting KPIs, right? So I kind of explained that to them. Hey, look, through this stuff, here's what I've discovered. I think this is, like, we can agree you're struggling and here's why. So like, they're all gone now. Yeah, it wasn't like immediate though.
Were there a lot?
Not a lot, but a kind of an exercise we do in our management offsites every year is everybody gives from every department top 3 and bottom 3 in the entire company, not just what on your P&L or what you're responsible for. And a lot of us will have the same people across the entire org who are top 3 and bottom 3. And guess what? A lot of those bottom 3, I'm like, oh, it's a introvert and an extroverted role, and they're already on the way out. So there wasn't a ton. Most of them we were already well aware, but we didn't understand why. Yeah. So yeah.
Do you have a certain framework or model you're using for how you're changing the agency due to AI, especially the headcount of revenue that you're going to need over the next 12 months?
I think inevitably, like, headcount's going to decrease. Revenue per head is going to have to increase. As like a really good graphic designer could do, the work of 3 mediocre designers now. So did you ask how we're staying up with that or ahead of it?
What you're thinking through, or just like any principles that you have for navigating the next 12 months on the agency side, where, again, I think fundamentally the number of people you'll need per revenue will drop, but without freaking out yourselves or your team.
I have a weekly freak out, you know? I'm like, God, we're not gonna have a business. Claude releases something else, I'm like, our business is done, right? But
Yeah, I pulled up X and I think it's all gonna close tomorrow.
Yeah.
LinkedIn, I'm like, it's fine for a while.
yeah. We've taken a lot of that upon ourselves at the management level because we tried to make our the specialists and everything like you got to use AI and like I don't know they just don't. So then we make their managers like, hey, you got to train your guys how to use AI and build it into their workflow. So we've integrated it, but I keep up with it heavily. My partners keep up with it heavily, and we're slowly weaving it into the business. So yeah, dude, it develops so fast. I think you just gotta try to keep up with it, and that's your job as founder, CEO, leader in your company is to like look 6-12 months ahead. It's funny when AI was first released, like one of our interview questions was, do you use AI? And everybody's like, oh no, definitely not, right? And now it's like, I want the opposite. I'm like, you better be all in on AI and like testing yourself. That's probably the last question.
Yeah. So as you grew this, my question is, how did you hire for roles that you maybe didn't have like any previous experience of like, how do I know that this is a good person for this role? And how do I know that, even fully flesh out that?
Yeah. We just made the wrong hire 20 times and figured it out. Like, I don't know if I'm sure there's, you could get some advice and try to stop yourself from doing that. But yeah, we definitely did it the hard way. And like, again, that's why we got bloated at 200 plus, fired back down to 160 and figured fulfillment out, figured churn out, and then figured hiring out and pushed back up. So yeah. Cool. Thanks, guys. Yeah.